now. Pull up a chair, friends. Mo Grumpy Puppy wants to tell you all about something most folks don't talk about much anymore. Back in the late 1940s, out where we lived, doctors weren't always right down the road. Matter of fact, sometimes the nearest doctor was 20 miles away. And 20 miles might as well have been 100 when your truck wouldn't start. Your horse came up lame, or somebody woke up sick in the middle of the night. Now don't get me wrong, folks respected doctors. But when help couldn't get there quick enough, country people learned to help themselves. Most every family had what they called a medicine patch. A little corner of the garden where healing plants grew alongside the vegetables. My grandma had one. Everybody called her Granny May, and Lord have mercy. That woman knew more about plants than most books ever will. She could walk through a pasture and point at weeds most folks ignored, then tell you exactly what they were good for. One of her favorites was peppermint. She grew it beside the well house. Whenever somebody had an upset stomach, she'd pick fresh leaves and steep them in hot water. By bedtime, your belly usually felt a whole lot better. Then there was chamomile. Little daisy-like flowers she'd gather just before they fully opened. Folks drank chamomile tea when they couldn't sleep or when worry had their nerves tied in knots. Back then, people didn't call it stress. They just said their nerves were acting up. Another plant Granny loved was mullein. Now, if you ever saw mullein growing, you'd know it. Tall, fuzzy leaves, looks almost like a giant gray-green rabbit ear. When somebody got chest congestion, she'd dry the leaves and brew them into tea. Folks swore it helped loosen things up. Whether it did or not, everybody believed it did. And sometimes belief goes a long way. Now pine trees weren't just shade trees where we come from. The old folks used pine resin for all sorts of things. If somebody got a scrape or blister, they'd sometimes make a simple salve using pine resin and tallow. Smelled like the woods after a rainstorm. And speaking of the woods, willow trees were considered mighty valuable. Long before folks bought aspirin from a store, old-timers knew willow bark could help ease aches and pains. Nobody knew all the science behind it. They just knew it seemed to work. Now let me tell you all about one thing every country child dreaded: a splinter. Back then, there wasn't always fancy first aid supplies around. So Granny would make a warm bread and milk poultice. She'd lay it over the spot and wrap it with cloth. By the next morning, half the time that splinter would work its way right out. At least that's what she claimed. And nobody was brave enough to argue with Granny May. Animals got their share of country remedies too. If a mule got sore from pulling too hard, folks would rest it, brush it down, and sometimes use warm compresses. If a hunting dog came home with sore paws after running briars all day, those paws got cleaned, checked, and cared for before supper was served. 'Cause around our place, animals weren't equipment. They were family. Now, before somebody gets the wrong idea, not every old remedy worked. Some were useful. Some were probably nonsense. And some were simply comfort wrapped in tradition. But here's what I think made the biggest difference. People paid attention. They knew their neighbors. They knew their animals. They knew when something wasn't right. And because they paid attention, they often caught problems before they became bigger ones. Seems like that's a lesson worth remembering. Nowadays, we've got more medicine than ever before, and that's a blessing. But maybe we've lost a little something too. We've forgotten how much wisdom comes from watching, listening, learning, and respecting the world around us. Granny May used to tell me, boy, God put a lot of answers in these fields and forests if you're willing to look. Now, whether she meant that literally or not, I thought about those words my whole life. Because what she was really teaching wasn't just about plants. She was teaching gratitude, patience, observation, and respect. Respect for nature, respect for knowledge, respect for the folks who came before us, and friends. That's wisdom that never goes out of style. The medicine patch is long gone now. The old cottage has weathered away, and Granny May's rocking chair sits empty. But every spring will wildflowers bloom, and every summer when mint grows along a fence road, I still think about those old lessons. And I reckon part of Granny May's wisdom is still growing out there somewhere, out alongside the weeds.